Good morning. It's Sunday morning. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm here with a Sunday thought. I'm going to talk about stress today because I had an event happen this week that put me into the most stressful situation that I've ever been in, that I can remember ever being in. Let's put it that way. And so, as I like to be pretty current with what's going on, because there is a lot of stress going on in the ethers. So as in Canada, we have an election happening on Monday, and a lot of people get stressed by that. I'm not particularly stressed by that. It'll just be, for me, interesting to see what happens. But there's also things in the sky, by the way, more chemtrails than ever. I'm going to tell you a story. When I first moved to the Okanagan Valley here, I was a little innocent. I met some people who were very metaphysical, and then they started talking about chemtrails, and I went, "What are you talking about?" Well, those things in the sky. And I said, "Oh, they're from planes flying over." No, you don't understand. So and I've been here now a lot of years, about 17 years, I think it is. So anyway, over the years, I got to understand more and more about what these chemtrail things are. And I took a picture actually very early, and I could see from the it falling down like beautiful lace. And I took this picture, and I actually said to my son, when I saw him, I said, "Look at this beautiful lace." Yeah, and he then got on top of me. Not Mom, that's a chemicals that are dropped in the air for various reasons. And that does put a sense of stress going on. And there's been a number of people written, because my other friends have told me right now that there's a lot of stress going on in the ethers that are affecting people that are spiritual, etc. My stress that came this last week was from a different scenario. Many of you who have been watching, which I appreciate, know that I've gone through the last couple of years dealing with cancer. Finally, I get a dentist appointment. While I was there, I found out I have to have teeth removed. I have to have a lot of fillings. And for the first time in my life, my brain stopped working. I just came home and I sat down, and a friend phoned me and said, "How did it go at the dentist?" And I said, "I can't talk to you right now. I have to assimilate." I've never used words like that to people about what's happening in my brain. And it was like it just closed down. And I was like, here we go again. And when my dentist, who I have admired, and I've been trying to get in, but dentists are very busy, and I've had to wait months. But still, that doesn't stop the point of view that I obviously didn't take care of my teeth properly. So anyhow, to make a long story short, I made me really realize how much stress there's going on. Now, this mind was just coping with what was going on for me, what will be going on. It hasn't started yet. I have another appointment on Monday, actually. They're just cleaning stuff, I think, from what they're studying. They're not starting to pull teeth out yet. But my dentist, as I was going to say, who I've known and worked with for years, came in, and my gal who looks after my cleaning and everything pulled her in, and they were talking above me, that, well, there's this and there's that and the other and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to do this. And she said, "What I'm going to do is make a plan," because they can't do all this work in one day or 1 hour or whatever it is they do. So they're going to make a plan. Anyway, I spent one whole day absolutely like a zombie. I've never been like a zombie in my life like that, ever, no matter what's been going on. It was just, I couldn't think. I couldn't process. I couldn't come to terms that after all this other stuff that I've gone through, I now have to go through everything around my mouth. And of course, I talk. And so how my mouth looks is really important. I think that was one of the things. Oh, what are they going to do? Am I going to have gaps in my mouth? What am I going to look like? It's so funny. We're so vain as well. But it made me really aware right now how much stress most of us are not aware of that we're actually under. I always thought I was really good at handling pretty well most anything because I've lived a long life. So there's been times when things have not worked. Been no problem to me at all. I mean, it's yes, I get upset or I have a, but I just deal with what I have to deal with. But this was so different. And even then, I went out 1 or 2 days later with a friend of mine, and something came up. And she says, "Well, you're not like yourself." I go, and because we were changing some other things that were going on, and I said, "No, I know I'm still having to come to terms with that." But I've had a couple more days, so I'm beginning to relax more. And then I thought, well, if I'm going through this, then other people are having stress for various reasons. The world's kind of on a, if you're at all sensitive, on a, I like, it's like we're all in our inner being waiting. It's like we're on tin, what's that term when you're on tenterhooks, waiting, 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 just to see what's going on out there over which we have no control whatsoever. All we can do is how do we handle, how do we work with it, and how we keep on going, no matter what is going on. We are all very similar. We're emotional people inside a body dealing with not only our own feelings for various things, but what's happening in that larger picture. And it's not everybody's political, not everybody's trying to figure out what's going on with things, although it's very, at one time I was kind of in a fringe area of awareness and knowledge, and now it seems to be quite big. A lot of people talk about chemtrails that are up there. I also got a piece of information, a friend of mine who used to live with someone who's now passed on, who used to service those planes. So the planes are real. They're not imaginary. And now I believe President Trump has now come out wanting to examine more about what's going on with the chemtrails. So what was once a myth, and most of us, like me, what are you talking about? Oh, those are just planes up there. Yeah, right, dropping stuff. So it's like everything is coming out of the woodwork. It creates stress for people, even if you're not aware of it. If you're not aware of it actually consciously, it's still stressful in the situation because everyone that is becoming more and more and more aware of changes in the earth and the changes politically and the changes of what's happening. You've got big countries that, are trying to, what would you say, broke deals in the sense of having things de-escalate rather than escalate. So stress is around us. And I really was shocked at myself at how I responded to this piece of information regarding my mouth. That, I mean, I've had all sorts of things come at me in in my life, but in the last few years. But this was like one too many. And I had never ever gone through that before, where it's like you have a pile of rocks and then you put one more on it, and that's that one that breaks everything down. They all fall down. So I just want you to be aware that out there's a lot of stress going on where you may or may not be aware of it, how it's coming in, how you're dealing with it. You just may think it's you being a little off or feeling tense or kind of agitated, maybe a little short-tempered, annoyed with whatever's going on, all those things. But just know that you're not the only one. There's many, many people are feeling that same way. What it means is that you're sensitive, that you have and pick up feelings that you can see, that you're not aware of, and yet they're there in the air around. And those of us that have that sensitivity, when you're confronted with something bigger, as I think it was Thursday, that it's all of a sudden, it's like stop, Phil. Brain stop. I've never had my brain stop. That and say, oh, I have to assimilate this. Was I've gone through, many things. Really, really, truly. You don't live a life and not have all sorts of things happen. But never have I had my brain stop. And so now it's slowly beginning to work again. I've assimilated what is going to happen. I've come to terms with it, and I'll figure it out as I go. Because one of the thing was, oh my goodness, my shows. How if I've got gaps in my mouth, how am I? Because we do know there's certain teeth, but I think they're all back ones and up ones and goodness knows what else. But that's what happens when you're having 2 years of cancer treatments, which means we all know that's chemicals going into your system. And now it's all showing up in my mouth. And of course, an arm that doesn't work right. And it's got a hole in it. Well, it hasn't got a hole anymore, but I still can't use it very well. So there's lots of things that create stress, lots of things, but most of it. So let's look at the other side of this, which is, and something I talk about so often, acceptance of what is. What can you change? What can you do about it? And so you accept it. I am personally so grateful that I know how to do my mental mind treatments, because that's what, as soon as I realized where I was, the next day, that first day, I was right out of it. The next day, I started doing mental mind treatments about acceptance and knowing that everything is in its right place at the right time, that there'll be support, there'll be all these things. So that's one of the things I'm very, very successful with. Yeah, I'm good at doing mental mind treatments for myself and others, but that came out a little bit where I just followed the thoughts there. Yes, clients still, I was able to do some readings on the weekend. I was able to carry on, but that's what we do as survivors, as we carry on. And for those Canadians voting, if you haven't done it already, like me, Monday is vote day. And I also have a friend coming in on Monday as well. So it's kind of back to regular life. So I know that my nervous system is still a little wonky. So I meant to go yesterday to go get some strong vitamin Bs, and I've got caught up with some other things that were going on. So anyway, basic taking care of the nervous system now takes place. So that is really what I wanted to say. And so I'm just going to say thank you, Karen. I got that email off to you this morning and fixed that all up. Hi, Julie, back to you. And I see you've got another one. As an HSP, it is being a challenge. Yeah, I know. Those people who are sensitive to energies, mostly I walk through them without too much concern, but they pile up after a while, especially when it comes in and it deals with you. And Karen Lee, good morning. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for thumbs up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. It helps when things go wonky. It helps. It really does. It kind of says, okay, we'll be back to normal pretty good. We'll be back to, I guess it's tomorrow night, mental mind treatment, 7:00 BC time anyway. You have a good day and just give yourself a treat. I'm a big believer in treats. I always have been. My family knew that when things went on is they would come home and something had happened. We're out going out for dinner tonight, but because treats, right? To help whatever's happening. So I'm sitting here treating myself, being able to talk with you. Blessings to you all. Bye now.